Hello everyone. Good evening. Welcome to the session today. Hope we are all doing good. So let us start the session, guys. Okay. So let us just recap what we have just yesterday discussed. So we have started with. Okay. So we have started with what is data engineering, and we have understand that the data engineering is where we get the data from multiple data sources, we process it and we analyze it in few of the tools. And after that, we have seen what is a Google Cloud platform. So today also we're going to be starting with so we just have to get some basics, or we have to make self comfortable with the Google Cloud. For that one, for next 2 or 3 days, we are going to focus on the Google Cloud platform, the basic concepts. Okay, so we must understand how the console walk through, how we can work with the Cloud Shell, and where is this project, how to create a project, and how to work with each and every service in the GCP. Okay, for that one, we are going to work with the Google Cloud platform from today onwards. So the agenda of this particular Google Cloud is, so we're going to be having why do we need to worry about why we need actually the cloud platform, and what is the difference between the on-premises and cloud platform. So let us try to understand, let us try to start from the very foundation that why actually there's a need of cloud, and why we are moved from the on-premises to the cloud, and that we will understand. Then we will see what is a Google Cloud platform and why we have to learn the Google Cloud platform and opportunities, and what are the services are there in the Google Cloud platform. If I wanted to interact with any of the service in the GCP, what is actually the console, how I can activate the Cloud Shell, how to work with the Cloud SDK, and we will also have a console walkthrough. And then we will see what is this GCP locations, what is meant by region, what is meant by zone, and what is the importance of selecting a proper region or a zone in a project. That is also we will see. And finally, with respect to the security, we should also understand about the IAM, that is identity access management. So what are these identities, what are these roles, how we are going to have a resource hierarchy, what is the main importance of the IAM. So one by one we are going to have next 3 to 4 days we're going to be spending on this Google Cloud platform, and let us try to make ourselves comfortable with the GCP. Then we will worry about the GCP data engineering tools. Okay, so this is the agenda for next 2 to 3 days, guys. So hope we are good with that. Okay, yeah, hope I'm clear and I'm audible to everyone loud and clear, I believe. Okay, great. Yeah, thank you. So let us start the session. Okay, so first thing, why cloud? Why do we need cloud? So very simple words I will try to tell you. Okay, so assume that, okay, I will try to tell you maybe the importance of the Amazon, how actually the Amazon came into the picture, and let me try to explain you the main importance of the Amazon, how it has started this web services, and how the Azure came into the picture, and how the GCP came into the picture, and let us try to understand that. Okay, so when Amazon was there, when the Amazon was started, that it was just a bookstore. Okay, so if you look at the Amazon, now it is a everything, but if you look at it, Amazon when it was started, it was just a bookstore. So let me go to the paint and let me try to explain. Okay, so we are talking about one of the important firm, and it is not just a simple thing, it's a market leader now. Okay, so when you look at the Amazon or a GCP or a Microsoft Azure, so whatever it is, so when you look at the Amazon when it has started its work, and it was only related to the books, so it used to sell the books online. Okay, so what it was doing that, and after that it got a very good market, and it got a very good network, and it started building not only the books, and it will also starting building the utensils, it also starting the clothing, it also started the plenty of products, online products. So that's how it has started. Okay, and after that what it has done is that, okay, Amazon, so they got a very good network and they got a very good customer feedback, and then they started books. Starting with the books, they started with the clothing and products like utensils, as well as we also have some kind of a furniture. All of those things they used to sell, and they got they got a very good response from the customer. The customer satisfaction was very good, and they used to get every day the sales was around 1 million, 2 million at that time. Okay, and this was very good and it was going very good. But what the problem is there, that so there was expected only some 1,000 people. Okay, because they have to build some background, right? So if they have to send all of these online items, they have to have one application, and this application is supported by the backend database. Okay, so they didn't expected that this many people come into the picture, and they will this much Amazon becomes a very popular choice for online items. But they only built this application as well as the backend database only for the 1,000 users, but they got to know that 12 million users are now using at that time. Okay, maybe like 7-8 years before. So that means this 1 million people, if they go to the application keep on crashing, that it was saying that there is some error, because they only built the application for 1,000 people, but now they are using 1 million, 10 million people, because those products become very popular. So many people are using the online items from there onwards. Okay, so again, what Amazon has to do is that, okay, so I got a very good network, I got a very good number of customers, so they're going to keep on ordering the items, so I have to increase my infrastructure. Okay, for that one, what it has done is that Amazon started its own data center. Okay, Amazon started its own data center. It took a land. Okay, Amazon started taking a land for rent, and they started guys, mute yourself. Okay, they started taking a land, and inside that they started building the racks for infrastructure servers. They started building it. Okay, they started building the infrastructure you can think of. Okay, when I say infrastructure, what is this infrastructure, sir? Infrastructure is nothing but a server, hardware, software, all of those things I'm calling as infrastructure. Networking component, storage. So all of those things as a one rack they are going to building. So they built an entire data center for its own online items. Okay, this is now going to be a data center. Okay, so everything going good. So they were keep on adding new products, and there were new customers, and everything going good. And this application is now, even it can handle not only 1 million, not only 10 million, it can also handle even though 100 million, 1,000 million people also it can handle the application, because this application is supported by the plenty of infrastructure, because they build their own data center itself. Okay, now everything going good, and but what is happened is that, and they got to know, or there was one more competitor or whoever it is, because of that their sales were keep on reduced by, and now they back to the 1,000 people at that time. Okay, we were talking about 5-7 years before. So their sales got to 1,000 only every day. They used to actually the traffic was very high, means usually the 1 million people or 10 million people try to do the transactions in the Amazon, but that count was decreased to the 1,000 only. Okay, and sometimes it even going to the hundreds only. So that means the transactions were keep on reducing. Okay, the transactions were keep on reducing. So what the Amazon has to do now? Amazon has built its own data center, but now the problem is that, so their business is not doing well. Okay, and they got to know that, okay, sometimes their business is good and sometimes their business is not that good, not that good. So that's where Amazon thought about it. So they have their own data center, and the data center is having already the infrastructure, and instead of likewise, whoever is starting their own business like Amazon, they worry about their infrastructure. So that's the reason Amazon not just selling the products now onwards. Amazon was also started renting the infrastructure. Okay, what is the need of the cloud now? You understand it, guys. So what is the need of the infrastructure? You try to understand. For example, If I build, for example, assume that if I build my own platform or own business, assume that if I'm building my Flipkart, for the Flipkart application, I need the infrastructure, but I can't afford an entire data center. Okay, if the Flipkart application is going to be very famous and I do not have a data center, but I can't even build a data center, I can't build a infrastructure on my own because it is very costly process. But if I wanted to start a startup, I can rent an infrastructure. So that's what the Amazon started, that it was not just selling the products, so it was started selling the infrastructure. Instead of selling the products, they got the higher profits in the infrastructure itself, because plenty of the startup companies, they don't wanted to build their own data center, right? No one wanted to build their own data center. Because we do not know if the startup being good, okay, the data center I can able to use it. If the startup is not there, what I have to do? Whatever the money that I spend on the data center is waste. So that's the reason they don't wanted to build their own infrastructure. So they started taking renting this infrastructure. All the startup companies or MNC companies or product-based companies, they started renting the infrastructure. So that is what lead to the cloud. Okay, so if you have to rent some infrastructure, that infrastructure has to be there on the internet. Okay, so that's where people like AWS came into the picture. AWS, Amazon renting this infrastructure, so they started their Amazon Web Services. Likewise, Google also renting the infrastructure to the organization, so it has started its own GCP platform. Likewise, Microsoft Azure came into the picture, and they also started providing the renting services that is called as a cloud computing services. Now AWS is providing the renting services, GCP providing the renting infrastructure, Microsoft is providing the renting infrastructure on the internet. So that's the reason it is cloud become very important. These services are nothing now called as a cloud computing services. Okay, cloud computing services. Computation is on the cloud. Computation is on the cloud. Computation is rented by some other cloud provider. So they are providing you the cloud computing services to you. You are using those cloud computing services, or you are renting those cloud computing services for if you wanted to think like this. You go to Hyderabad and you do not have your own home. What do? You rent a home. You can't afford constructing your own home for you, right? So that's for the reason you try to rent a home. So that's the same thing that almost all the companies are nowadays doing. So they don't want it to construct their own infrastructure. For example, if you think that there is a company called C1 and they don't want it to build their own data center, they don't want it to build their own infrastructure, because building an infrastructure is takes the time, takes the expertise, takes the money, takes the effort. So we have to put all of those things. So companies are not ready to put all of those things. So that's where they started renting it. So that's where they started taking the rents. So there is an infrastructure, they wanted to take the rent. So if this infrastructure has to be provided by some cloud provider, right? So we have a cloud providers like AWS, Azure, and GCP came into the picture now like that. Okay, so this is the main intention of having an entire cloud. Okay, so if you can come to here, why do we need a cloud? Each project will have its, for example, take one company will have numerous projects. Each project will have their own requirement. Okay, if they wanted to fulfill their own requirement, they need to have two things. One is development, one more is infrastructure. When I say development, that is code preparation, and one more is infrastructure. Infrastructure is nothing but this thing. Either we have to build our own data center, or we have to rent the infrastructure. Renting the infrastructure is nothing but a cloud computing. Guys, mute yourself. Okay, so each company will have a numerous projects, and each project will have their own requirement. For fulfilling the requirement, they have to prepare their code. One thing, they have also take care of the infrastructure. Preparation of the code is taken care by the developers. infrastructure has to be also taken care by the developers only. But if we have to take care of the infrastructure, we need to have the physical infrastructure. So that means either we have to rent the infrastructure or we have to build our own infrastructure. Renting the infrastructure, for that when you can go to the cloud computing. Building our infrastructure, nothing but we have to build an entire data center. So this is not an option. Building an infrastructure is not an option because it takes a lot of amount of money, time and effort. But we can rent the services. That's where Google Cloud came into the picture. Okay, that is the reason we need a cloud platforms. Okay, so to fulfill our business requirements, instead of managing our own infrastructure, we are going to the cloud computing, and we are taking care of, we are taking care of the development, and infrastructure is taken care by the cloud provider. But how much of the infrastructure is that taken care by the cloud provider is a question. Okay, so the question is very important question actually. See, I have a company, this is my company, and my company have this many projects, plenty of the projects, and each project will have some requirement. And I have two things. One is development, one more is infrastructure. Development is code preparation, I can take care of it. But infrastructure, I need two things. Either I can rent the infrastructure or I can build my own infrastructure. Renting the infrastructure means either we can go to the Google Cloud Platform or AWS or Azure. So this is not an option because it takes time. Okay, now our code is ready, our infrastructure is ready. But now, how much of the infrastructure is taken care by the cloud provider? So do we have any flexibility of selecting it? So that's where we have three kind of options here. Look at here, guys. This is not that simple to understand, but if you just understand this concept, it actually gives you very good knowledge on it. Okay, so now if you go to the infrastructure, you have three things. One is, when you go to the cloud, I shouldn't mention that. This one. When you go to the cloud, you have three options, and this is one option. Let us try to see the difference between each and everything. Okay, so let me go to this thing and let us try to see what is a Google Cloud Platform. Before that, what is an on-premises model, what is a cloud computing model. On-premises model, an organization managing its own infrastructure to run their codes and application. So that is nothing but an on-premises. This we have seen like 10 years before. Most of the companies nowadays are the cloud computing services, and they are following a cloud computing model. But earlier, if you go to 10 years before, all of those companies are the on-premises companies. That means they are managing their own infrastructure. What is mean by infrastructure, sir? Look at here. Servers or hardware or software or networking or storage. So this is now very clear that on-premises means for example, if you are working in one company, the company has to take care of its own infrastructure. That means that company has to build their own data center for their application deployments. So that is what is an on-premises. What is a cloud computing model? In a cloud computing model, you will be having your company. Okay, you will be having your company. You have a plenty of requirements, plenty of deployments, right? So these deployments for this environment for this deployments is provided by the GCP. Okay, the infrastructure for the deployments of these applications or requirements, whatever it is, code, those infrastructure is provided by the Google Cloud Platform or any other cloud as a service to you. Okay, so what they do, sir, in your organization, on-premises was a problem, because when you look at the on-premises, if you have to build your infrastructure, you are spending money, you are spending time, you are spending amount of effort, and you need expertise. When I say expertise, a personal, a people who has expertise in that field. Okay, so you have to spend all of this time, and you have to spend these many things for the on-premises. That's where companies don't want it to go to on-premises. They are moving to the cloud computing. In the cloud computing, what they do, so to deploy their applications, they can actually take the infrastructure from the cloud platform. Okay, so now the cloud platform is providing you the infrastructure. So now you will be able to deploy your applications on the cloud platform, and the infrastructure is taken care by the cloud provider. But what is the thing that we have to pay them? Okay, you can't go to Hyderabad. You can directly go to Hyderabad, but you can't. I mean, when you are staying in a hotel or when you are staying in a room, and if you can't pay the money, they don't allow you, right? So how many days you are staying there, and you have to pay the money. Likewise, whatever the infrastructure you are renting here, you pay the money for those renting. Okay, so how much infrastructure you are using, you pay that money only. So that's how the cloud providers. So cloud provider is saying that you focus on the development, we will take care of the infrastructure for you, but you, okay, you focus on the development, we will take care of the infrastructure for you and pay as you use. So how much resources you are using, how much infrastructure you are using, that much only you pay. So that's what is a cloud provider. Okay, so it's an entirely big business of creating their own data centers and renting this data center. It's not a simple business, guys. It's a very big business. So we have a leading cloud providers like AWS, Azure, and GCP. They are providing you the rented services to you. You are using those rented services to fulfill your business requirements. So that is what is nothing but a cloud computing, guys. Okay, so this is clear. Anyone have any questions? Well, let us see the questions because we have a plenty of the people here. Let us see the questions at the end, guys. Okay, yeah. Now, as I have told you that, so infrastructure is taken care by the cloud provider. Okay, here the infrastructure is taken care by the cloud provider. So do I have any options here? Because I do wanted to take care of, because if I provide you, if I can take care of the entire infrastructure by the cloud provider, the easiness increases. Okay, the way that they manage is everything is managed by them. That means okay, but the flexibility or the controllability on my project will reduce for me. Okay, so I wanted to take care few of the infrastructure and I want the cloud provider to take care of a few of the infrastructure. In such cases, do we have any options? So I'm going to talk about that here in a very good picture. It's going to gives you very good information. Look at here, guys. Okay, now we will understand everything about on-premises working model as well as cloud. So these three are cloud. Okay, as I told you, cloud has three options. Okay, this is cloud. Now, in on-premises working model, if you wanted to work on a project, if you have one requirement from the client, if you wanted to develop a solution and deploy that solution on a top of one application, what you have to do is that first you have to go to your take the land and build your infrastructure on top of the land, create your own data center. Then on top of your physical server, you build your virtual machines, because if you have a physical server and you can only use it for the one requirement, if you can create your virtual machines, you can actually go for the plenty of the requirements. Okay, so first you build your physical infrastructure, and on top of that, for building the infrastructure, you have to buy a land, you have to build your data center, or instead of like you can just buy one laptop or something like that. Okay, and here you have to build your virtual machines and then install your applications. For example, if you are working on a Python, or if you are working on a Java, you are working on a Node.js, or you are working on some other compute options, servers, you have to install all of those things and do the networking of all of those things, connecting the plugins. Then you develop the application on top of that particular service. Okay, for example, if it is a Java application, whatever the code that you have created, right, you deploy that code on top of that application. Okay, so this is what in on-premises you have to, your company has to take care of all. Your company has to take care of all. But what is the advantage of the cloud? In the cloud, you have three options. Look at here, guys. It's very interesting now. See, when you go to the cloud, you have three types of services. One is virtual machine based services, managed services, serverless services. This is the categorization. This is how I define it. Okay, this is how I define it. So I have three options: virtual machine based, managed, and serverless. Sir, what is the difference if you ask me? If you go to the virtual machines, a cloud provider will take care of the physical infrastructure. Okay, cloud provider will take care of the physical infrastructure. How, sir? Already know that the cloud provider has some infrastructure. Okay, that means a cloud provider already having some data centers, so you can use those data centers are like yours. Okay, you can rent them. Okay, for that one you will pay the money. Okay, so you can the cloud provider will take care of the infrastructure for you, but you take care of your virtual machines, you take care of install of your applications, you take care of the development. Okay, so this is what is a virtual machine based. One hurdle is solved. Sir, I wanted to take care of virtual machines application and develop the solution. Go to VM based services in the cloud computing. No. I don't want it to just take cloud provider to just take care of the physical infrastructure, because I don't want it to manage the virtual machines as well. In such a scenario, go to the second option called managed services. What they do is that physical infrastructure is also taken care by the cloud provider, and virtual machines also taken care by the cloud provider. You can just take care of your application and develop the solution. Okay, you can just take care of your application, develop the solution. So this is what is a one more choice for you. And the one more option is that no, I just don't want it to take care of any infrastructure. I want my cloud provider to take care of the entire infrastructure. I just focus on the development. I will just focus on the development. All the things I want the cloud provider to take care of it. So that is what is a one more option is serverless, very famous nowadays. Okay, so in a serverless platform, you as a person, you as a project, you as a company, not focusing on the infrastructure but focusing on the development. This is the main idea of the cloud computing. The theme of the cloud provider is that focus on the development, we will take care of the infrastructure. Okay, so this is going to be very good image that it will, whenever you think about what is the difference between the on-premises and cloud, you should remember this image. You should have the think about this image. This image will give you very good information. Okay, so when you're working in an on-premises, you have three options. When you're working in a cloud, you have a when you're working in on-premises, all the things you have to take care of. When you're working in a cloud, you have three options based on your requirement. So whenever you are moving from here to here, what is happening? If you can see, the control that you have on the project is decreased. Okay, you have a control on the virtual machines, application and development here, but you have only the control over your application. So it's if that is okay for you, you can go to this requirement. But when you go up here, the infrastructure that you have on you is increasing. That means the infrastructure burden on you is increasing. Okay, so that is how it is, guys. Okay, so control is decreased here, and infrastructure management is increased here. Managing the infrastructure requirement is increasing here. So for example, you see here, this is how it is actually. Okay, the control in the on-premises, you have a control over everything. Okay, but you have a lot of burden on the management side. That means infrastructure management, you have a lot of burden. When you keep on moving down, the control on the project is reduced, but the management of the infrastructure is keep on reduced. So that is how. So based on this requirement, select your proper tools, whether you wanted to work in the cloud or on premises. Whether you want, mostly we are going to work in the cloud for sure, there is no option for us. But whether you wanted to work in the VM based, managed, or serverless, still you are unable to understand. I have a very good example here with me. Okay, sorry, I don't know. Okay, yeah, 1 minute, guys. I'm gonna delete these things. Okay, now this is good. I have a very good example for you to understand this thing. Let me just show you. Okay, if you are a GCP data engineer, okay, I'm going to give you one simple example for you. And if you're working as a GCP data engineer, you are requested to store and process a CSV data. Okay, your client came to you and he asked you that I have a file size of 1 TB. I have a file size of 1 TB, and he want you to, there is an end user to that. He wanted to access the data in the form of a table. Okay, so he given you the 1 TB of the data in the form of a CSV file, and he wanted to create it as a table, and he wanted to run some queries on top of that. Okay, so that is what it is. So how do you solve this request? How do you solve this request, sir? Okay, if this is in on-premises, first thing I wanted to do is that if I have a laptop, I will do, I will install one software, Hadoop software, and after that what I will do, I will try to have that data. I will try to store that 1 TB of the data in my laptop, physical laptop. I will move that entire data to the Hadoop. On top of the Hadoop, I will install the Hive. And once I install the Hive, I will be able to have the data in the form of SQL. Okay, here, if it is an on-premises company, I as a person has to take care of everything. For the Hadoop, I have to create a cluster, and after the cluster, I have to work with the Hadoop, and HDFS I have to install. After that, Hive I have to install. So many things I have to install. Okay, if I am working in on-premises. But what if you work in the cloud? What are the options you see here? Okay, scenario one, if you select VM based services, guys, mute yourself, please. Okay, it's really, I mean, because I put a high value because it's really, very disturbing. Okay, so back to the session now, sorry. And when we go to the cloud, we have 3 options. We already know that it is virtual machine based, and one more is a managed services, and the third one is configuration options. In virtual machine based, you have to do 3 things. Okay, you have to create a virtual machine in the compute engine. You have to go to the compute engine in the GCP, and you have to create a virtual machine. And on top of your virtual machine, you have to create a Hadoop cluster. And on top of that, you can store your data in the HDFS and create a Hive table on top of that cluster. Okay, you have 3 things here. And when you go to the managed services, you have only 2 things. So one of the managed service in the GCP is Dataproc. You can directly go to the Dataproc, just create a cluster in the Dataproc, and you will be having HDFS and Hadoop. Automatically, you can just store the data in the HDFS and create a Hive table. So this is one more option. Or if you want to have a serverless platforms, store the data in the BigQuery table, and BigQuery is a serverless platform, and whenever you store the data in the BigQuery table, it is already a table and you will be able to query it. Okay, so these are the possible options. What if you go to the on-premises, guys? If you go to on-premises, 3 things. On top of this thing, you have an on-premises. When you go to on-premises, you have to take care of the infrastructure here. First infrastructure, then Hadoop cluster, then then virtual machine, then cluster, then storing the data and creating a table. So you have 4 things here. You have to take care of 4 things here. When you keep on coming down from the on-premises to the different scenarios in the cloud, your requirement will be very easy. You will be able to solve the things in very easily. So here, all 4 things you have to take care. In a virtual machine based, only 3 things you have to take care. Here only 2 things. Here only 1 thing. So this is how the amount of infrastructure that is taken care by the GCP is keep on divided into 3 things. One is virtual machine based services, managed services, and serverless services. Hope this was very clear, and I want you guys to unmute yourself if you have any questions. I'm going to be here for this is like a 5 minutes kind of a break for everyone, or 5 minutes of a discussion if you guys have any questions. Okay, any questions, guys? Great. I'm assuming that you do not have any questions. Just to recap that, we have 2 working models. One is on-premises, one more is cloud computing. In on-premises, everything is taken care by the on-premises, and in the cloud, you have options. You based on that, infrastructure is taken further divided. Okay, Yeah, someone raised your hand, right? Shekhar Pandey. Yeah. So you can unmute yourself and talk your. Yeah. Correct. 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 That's a very good question. So the question here is the guys that, sir, when we are moving from on-premises to the cloud serverless, so what is the cost here? In the on-premises, for sure, the cost is very high. But when you are moving from the VM-based to the managed to the serverless, you see here, assume that this is 10 rupees, this is 10 rupees, this is 10 rupees. Okay, this is 10 rupees. And now when VM based is this GCP is taking care of it, that means you have to provide 10 rupees to the GCP. When you are the manager, you have to 10 plus 10, that means you have to provide the 20 rupees to the GCP. That means 10, 10, 10, that means when you keep on moving from the VM based managed to the serverless, even the ease is reduced. So the way that you work on the service, the way that you manage the infrastructure is reduced. Likewise, whenever you are getting a lot of benefit, the cost is also similar. So you are using this infrastructure, this resource and this resource. So for one resource, some amount of cost will be there. For two resources, the cost is keep on reduced. For three resources, the cost is further increased. So that is how. Okay, yeah. So there is a question in the chat. Let me read it out. Is this course with focus on data engineering? I'm a Java developer looking for architect certification. Is this a right course for me? Yes, of course. This is a very good course for you. We have here plenty of Java developers and Python developers who are going for a certification. Yes, I have seen people who have done cloud architect certification, cloud associate certification, as well as professional data engineering certification as well. Yes, this is a great course for you. Yeah. Yes. Anyone having any questions, guys? Okay, I am taking that as a no, because I spent a lot of time making you understand these many things, right? So I want you guys to, we already know what is a Google Cloud Platform. Let me just make it clear for you. A Google Cloud Platform, as we have just seen, whatever the benefits that you are getting from the cloud platform, so all of those benefits you're going to get it from the GCP. GCP provides you three variety of the services. One is VM based, one more is managed services, one more is three serverless services. So there are plenty of the services which are categorized into these three. Okay, you have a compute options, you have a Kubernetes options, you have a app engines, cloud functions, big data tools, machine learning tools, networking tools. So cloud computing, Google Cloud is one of the cloud provider, leading cloud provider, I would say, who are providing you the cloud computing services in the field of compute options, IAM, management tools, big data tools, networking tools, storage and database tools, and machine learning services. Okay, so these are the all the GCP service, cloud computing services offered by the GCP, and it is similar to your AWS and Azure. Okay, so if I have to look at the definition, by definition, Google Cloud Platform is a suite of cloud computing services provided by the Google that offers a wide range of products and services to help organizations build and deploy and scale applications and services in the cloud. Okay, so that is what is a Google Cloud Platform, and GCP provides you highly reliable, secure, and scalable infrastructure that enables businesses to leverage the power of Google's extensive global network and data centers. As I told you how Google operates, even though Google has to operate, right? So how the Google operates? So if you think that this is your cloud homepage in the web, this homepage will are connected to the physical data center. So this data center are available in the worldwide. We will see where are these data centers available in the GCP locations. Okay, so there are plenty of the things we will be seeing there. And the next thing, GCP suite. So these are the services provided by the GCP. And why we learn the GCP? As I told yesterday also, it is a market leader. Industries are preferring the GCP because of its cost effective, flexibility, scalability, and all of these things. And it is having a comprehensive service portfolio, which we have seen just now. This is a comprehensive service portfolio, guys. And service integration and compatibility, machine learning capabilities also providing you. GCP has its own infrastructure on the global. So even though we have in India, Mumbai, New Delhi, all of these things also we have a data centers available, and it is having its own data centers all over the world. So that's the reason it is called as a global infrastructure availability, and it is providing you the certification and career growth. Whoever have done the certification in the GCP has a very value, and they have their packages and hikes increased a lot. Okay, so those who are there in the leadership positions or those who are planning for the senior positions, these certifications are very important. Okay, so that is the reason we need to learn the Google Cloud platform. Okay, and if you wanted to see the growth rate compared to the AWS and Azure, if you look at it, the growth rate was keep on increasing for the GCP, and you will be able to see that it reached almost 54% comparatively. The number of companies moved to the GCP was keep on increasing, and it will keep on increase further as well. Okay, so GCP further will add more data centers. GCP further will add more number of services, and the companies are keep on moving to the GCP, and the market for the GCP is keep on increasing. So that is the main reason that if we have skills, very good skills in the GCP, there are plenty of opportunities that we can use it, and we can able to get into the data engineering field very easily. Okay, getting the job in the GCP for now it is easy, but after some period, like if you go down the road 3 to 4 years after that, the market will have a plenty of GCP data engineers. Again, competing with them is very hard. But now, if it is very new to the market, it's not that new. I wouldn't say that it is very new. It is there from the last 4 years. It is in very trend now, and there are plenty of projects in the GCP, and the growth rate is very good comparatively. And the roles offered by the GCP, so GCP developer, GCP DevOps engineer, GCP data engineer, GCP BI developer, GCP admin. This course is mainly focusing on those people who wanted to become a developer, data engineer, and admin. This course is only for these 3 people. This is not covered here. This is also not covered here. Okay, so don't think this. So 1, 3, and 5. This course. I am also the trainer for the GCP DevOps and BI, but this is not that course. Okay, yes. And now we have seen that GCP is providing you the plenty of services, sir. So what are those services that the GCP is providing you? GCP is providing you the compute services, machine learning services, networking services, as storage and database services. Yes, and we have also seen what are the services that we are covering in this series in the yesterday's, right? So, but how to interact with the GCP services? So that is a question. Sir, if I wanted to interact with any of the service in the GCP, what are the ways? So if you ask me, we have actually 4 ways if you wanted to interact with the GCP. So we have a console, which is a web user interface. We have a Cloud Shell, which is a web command line tool interface, and we have APIs and libraries to work or interact with the services in the GCP. We have a web applications, or we have a web services or applications which are connected to the GCP services. Okay, if one wanted to connect it to the GCP, or if one wanted to interact with the GCP services, console and shell. The developers are focusing on these 2. Okay, console and shell mainly for the developers who wanted to work with the GCP. These are mainly for the applications and services to interact with. Okay, this is a client library is also there. Client libraries is nothing but a SDK. Again, developers come into the picture. Okay, so that is how. So if a man wanted to interact with the GCP services, you have 3 options. One is console, shell, SDK. If applications or services wanted to interact with either, it is you have a third-party tools, you have APIs, you have API calls, all of those things you will be able to interact with these services. So as a developer, if I wanted to interact with the console, how I can do that, sir? What is this console? Sir, if I wanted to interact with the Cloud Shell, what is actually the Cloud Shell and how to interact with that? Let us see. Okay, first thing, console. So console is a web user interface provided by the Google Cloud Platform. It allows you to manage and configure your GCP resources visually. Look at this thing. So the Cloud Console is a web user interface provided by the cloud, and it allows you to manage and configure the GCP resources visually. Let us see where is our console. Let me open our Google Cloud Platform, sir. In our upcoming classes, I will also tell you how to create a free tier account. Let us not worry about it now. Okay. So let me first go to the Google Cloud Platform. Our console homepage is nothing but a console.cloud.google.com. This is our web page, guys. Okay, Google Cloud web page is home page is this one, console.cloud.google.com. So this is how the interface looks like whenever you open it. Okay, I will tell you how to create an account. Let's not worry about it. So this is what I call as a console. Okay, this user visual interface is nothing but a console only. So in this console, you will be having a left navigation menu where all the products are listed out, and you have a location where you can actually create a new project or you can select an existing project. So this is a place where we can actually do those things. And this is a search. If you don't want it to go to the left navigation menu and select any of the services, you can go to here and you can able to search something. Okay, Kubernetes, for example. So that is how you can also search. Okay, and sir, where is this Cloud Shell? If you can see here, if you click on this one, this is our Cloud Shell. Okay, we will make ourselves comfortable. Whenever you see, as soon I want you to understand this one thing, as soon as you entered into the Cloud Console, the very first thing that we have to do is that select the existing project or create a new project. Why? Because projects are the main important resources where all the services are connected to the project only. Okay, something like this. Whenever you are working in a company, you will be having a project, right? Project is nothing but a requirement. So each project will have a plenty of people who are working under. Likewise, here also in the GCP, if you wanted to use any of the services like SQL databases, Cloud Run, or BigQuery, any of the services, if you wanted to use, you must create the project or select the existing project, and each tracking of the billing related to that particular service will be done via project only. Okay, each tracking of the billing to the services are done via project, and whenever you select the project, the very first thing is select the project existing or new, and whenever you wanted to work with any of the services, select that services. If the API enabled on the services, that is well and good. If the API is not enabled on the service, try to enable it. Okay, so that is the thing that we have to do. Hope that is clear. Okay, so this is how, as this is the walkthrough of the console, and once if you wanted to work with the Cloud Shell, you just have to click on this one. A command line interface will be opened up for here. What is this one? By definition, let us see first, then we will come back here. And here you see a console is a web user interface provided by the GCP. It allows you to manage and configure the GCP resources visually, and you can access the Cloud Console using the web browser and perform tasks such as creating a virtual machines, managing the storages, configuring the networking, and monitoring your resources. So all of these things were done via manual clicks and visually. Okay, so that is what it is. And what is a Cloud Shell, sir? Cloud Shell is an interactive browser-based shell environment available in the Cloud Console, nothing but a command line interface. With the help of the commands, you are going to interact with the GCP. Here, how you are going to interact with the GCP? via manual clicks or visually you are going to interact with. Here how to interact with the GCP? With the help of the commands you are going to interact with the GCP. That's the main difference. Okay, and it also provides you the 5 GB of the storage and for your files and supports popular programming languages and tools. Okay, so this is what is the Cloud Shell, sir. Let me go to there. And as I told you, how do you do the selecting a project with any of the service whenever you are working by a console? Likewise, whenever you're working from the Cloud Shell also, select the proper project. Okay, now by default, this project is selected. If you wanted to change the project, what you have to do? jcloud config set, it's already mentioned here, and provide the project ID. Assume that if you wanted to work with this thing, you just copy this project ID and paste it here. Automatically, that project ID will change. Okay, so that is how whenever you are working from the Cloud Shell or the console, the very first thing that we have to do is that selecting a proper project. Okay, so this is something that one is console, one more is Cloud Shell, and you have one more editor is also there in the Cloud Shell terminal. This is called as a terminal. You have an editor also there. You can see here, open editor. Click on the open editor. Editor is also one more something like IDE you can think of. Okay, you have your Visual Studio Code like that, right? So you have an IDE is also there here. Okay, so you will be having these many things. So if you wanted to edit your code or add your code, create a folder, all of those things, you can able to done that from the via Cloud Shell as well as the Cloud Editor also you can able to do it. Okay, so these are the three main things. One is console, one more is Cloud Shell. In the Cloud Shell you have two options. One more is Cloud Shell Terminal, one more is Cloud Shell Editor. Okay, yeah. I think if I go back to my slides, that is what I have told you. And there are some, these are the some common ways to work with the GCP, guys. The choice of method depends on your preferences, requirements, and the type of interaction that you wanted to do with the GCP resources, whether it is through a user interface or a command line interface or APIs or integration with the third-party tools or services. It purely depends on your requirement, how to interact with or what are the ways important to interact with the services. It purely depends on your project requirement. Okay, so this is a note, and this is a console walkthrough. We just have seen. Okay, in a console walkthrough, what we have seen, if you go to your browser, you will be having two things. One is left navigation to select the services, and here we will be having a project, and here we will be having a setup. Guys, mute yourself, please. Okay, here you will be having a search option. Here you have an option to activate the Cloud Shell, and you have a plenty of services here. And if you wanted to see the services in the GCP, you can do one thing, guys. Okay, all the products in the GCP, if you wanted to see, you can click on this products, solutions, click on products. Okay, you can able to see management, compute options, storage services. So all of these things are services only. In storage, we have a cloud storage. All of these things we are going to learn, don't worry. And analytics, BigQuery, data flow, all these things. Okay, BigQuery, PubSub, data flow, Composer, data fusion, all. Okay, mostly a data stream also we are learning, but not all of these things. Okay, networking services, cloud, serverless. So these are the all products available in the GCP. Okay, so these are the things that the Google Cloud Platform is providing. We are going to interact via Cloud Shell as well as Cloud Console daily to interact and work with these services to do our data engineering activities. Okay, so it is exactly 10 now. So if you guys have any questions, so this is a time for you to ask, and I'll be here for next 5-10 minutes. Okay, yeah. You can raise your hand. I will ask you, okay, because we have a plenty of people here. Yes, Shekhar. Yep. No, we are not going to learn all of these services. We are just focusing on the data engineering services because this is a data engineering class. This course is related to the data engineering, and here we are going to focus on the data engineering tools. And, okay, we have. Okay, let me pull up that sheet. I told you this yesterday, but yeah, these are the services that we are covering. Okay, so these are the services that we are. Yeah. Okay, guys. Anyone having any questions? Yes, Venkat. Yeah, Venkat, you go first. Venkat CH. You can unmute yourself. Yeah. Yes, yes. Yes, yes, I can hear you. Correct. Most of the times console is used, but I wouldn't say that. Again, it is again specific. And that's the reason. So people ask me this question. So that's the reason I put a note. Okay, I does not have that when I started this course. I did not have that note. Okay, it depends on the requirement, guys. So for example, when you wanted to create a service account, you can actually create a service account from Cloud Shell and Server. But most of the times, admins create a service account from the UI. That means console. Okay, so it depends on the requirement and the easiness. Okay, how, so if it is a one-time activity, console is good, but if it is a repeatable activity, go with the shell. Okay, commands are the good. Okay, it depends on it. Yeah, yeah. Both are same. Both are same. Yes. Okay, and Avinash B. Yes. Mhm. Correct, correct, correct. It's a managed services. It comes under managed service. It's a, yeah, of course. Yes, of course. So whenever you are working in a cloud platform, IAM is must, guys. Even though you work in any of the cloud platform, you work with the serverless things also. The management IAM is something that whether one guy is there, whether that guy is able to use this particular service or not. Because two things. Okay, he is a authenticated guy, unauthenticated guy. If he is an authenticated guy, I provide him the permission to use the service. If he is not an authenticated guy, I don't provide him the permission to use the service. So providing the permissions, and I can't just provide a one permission to one guy. I have to, because there are plenty of the permissions I'll be having. I wanted to provide it to the one guy. What I will do is that I create a one role by grouping all of these permissions. I create that role and I will provide that role or assign that role to the user so that he will be having access. So likewise for the Airflow, BigQuery, whatever it is a VM based or the virtual machine based or managed or serverless, management of IAM should be must and important. All the GCP admins must take care of this IAM. Okay, so that is important. Yes. Yeah. So hope I have answered your question. Yeah. Yeah. This course we are going to have 40 hours, guys. Okay, we are going to have it for next to 40 hours. It's usually we will be spending more than 1 hour, but I would say 1 hour, but you can say solid 1 hour, I would say. 40, not 40 days, it's 40 hours. But we do not have the Saturday, Sundays, right? So that's it. It goes to 1.5 months, I would say. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Of course, yes. So I will be providing you the service material as well. Here we have it. So once the registrations are completed, I will be providing you the access to it, and you have everything here. So I will also be helping you everything here. We have a very good material, and whatever I am covering here, you will be having it for reference, and you will be having some kind of a guide, or whenever you are going for an interview or whenever you are going for an exam, this will be acting as a material. I mean, you know what I would say, a short material you can think of. Okay, yeah, I'll be providing you the access to it. Yes, here you will be having everything when it comes to the topics and Hadoop and everything it will be having, so which will be very useful for you. Yeah. Timings is same, 9 to 10. Okay. So the timings are same. We'll be having it 9 to 10 p.m. every day. A solid 1 hour I'm looking at. Okay. So next 40 hours. Okay. Yep. Okay. And we have here Leela Krishna Ji. So yeah, you can ask your
Hi, sir.
question.
Sir, are you able to hear my voice?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Sir, currently I'm working as a Azure data engineer. So
Okay.
I have completed several courses in DURGASOFT itself for PySpark, all other things, big data related. So my
Okay.
doubt is now in Azure data engineering, we have Azure Data Factory. So similar tools, is there anything in GCP, sir? That is one thing.
Yes. Data
Okay.
proc, data flow, composer, plenty things are there.
Okay. And
Like
next one is now as part of data engineering, in generally it's SQL and PySpark and Python. All
correct.
the languages are there. In the sense, it's what either data breaks we are using. Similar kind
Correct.
of thing. Whatever the core things will be same, but the place where we executing is a different. Is it correct, sir?
Kind of, yes.
Okay. PySpark, where in Azure Data Factory we used to execute. Right. So what about in GCP, sir?
In
PySpark.
GCP, PySpark, you have a Databricks also, you can use it, and you can also go for data proc.
Okay, okay. Yes, sir. So this, it's I have more than 10 years of experience. So I'm currently working actually Azure side. This is a good option, right? I already registered actually. I have
Yeah,
paid
so
my company.
I can tell you one thing. So those who are having a doubt in their minds, so I'm going to tell you guys, I'll be very honest on this point. So if you wanted to become an Azure data engineer, sir, I don't worry about the job. I don't worry about anything. I wanted to become an AWS data engineer or Azure data engineer. It's your choice. But sir, I wanted to get a job as a data engineer, cloud data engineer. I wanted to get a job. I have only 2 months of time. Within the stipulated time, I wanted to get a job, and in a very trending job, if you wanted to have, I would personally tell you, because I have here my friend also in this class. I have my friend also who is joining with me every day. He is also planning to go for this one, because if you are having, I wanted to be a cloud data engineer within 2 months, I will personally suggest you to go for this course, because you have a competition here, you do not have a competition here.
Yeah, you got
Okay.
it, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's all, sir. Sir, anyway, you told it's projects. We can compare, right, sir, between Azure and GCP in the
You
course
can compare.
section.
Yes, you can
Yeah,
compare.
you
Yes.
will give just a glance details, right, sir?
I will also tell you. Okay, whenever I am covering one topic, what is the competitor tool in the AWS and Azure? Of course, I will tell.
Okay, sir. Thanks, sir.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So we have here Satish CK. Satish, do you have any questions? Okay, I think no. Srinivas?
Yeah, hello. I'm
Yes,
audible.
yes, you
Yeah,
are audible.
presently I'm working BA to Power BI.
Okay.
So is it suitable to me?
Yes. So even though you are working in a Power BI or some other Looker or some other data studio, whoever you are, it will be very helpful whenever, and I wouldn't say personally which will be very helpful for you, but when you wanted to get hike in your company and your company is forcing you to do some kind of a certification in the GCP, and that for that purpose you can actually go for the certification. You can actually earn a certification of associate cloud engineer. This course will help you to do that. Okay.
One more thing. I'm actually coding side. I'm very poor. So is the coding language, any coding part is
As you
there?
are a BI, I know that you are familiar with SQL, right?
Yeah, familiar. Skill okay.
Yeah.
But
All other
here
things I
some
will teach you about.
Python,
Don't worry
PySpark,
about
some.
that. Python, PySpark, data pipelines, all of those things I will teach. Okay. Yeah.
What is difference between GCP developer and data engineer?
GCP developer and data engineer could be little different, but you don't see the difference, right? So because the GCP data engineer, we spend, you as a BI engineer, you spend the time on the data. As a data engineer, they also spend the time on the data. Okay, you only do with the SQL and visual tools, but they also do it with Python. Okay, so that's the main difference. But I'm telling you, you have a leverage, you have a benefit here that you're already familiar with the data and some kind of a concepts. But there are people who are here coming from fresh background. Okay, they even does not know what is data also. But even though that this course is also very helpful for them if they wanted to become a data engineer. Okay, you are a step ahead of them, but yes, I would say.
Linux is
But I will
required for
teach
this.
you SQL as well as Python. I will teach you the development of PySpark, all of those things very simply, and that's not at all a problem.
Linux is required for this course.
I will teach that as well. Cloud Shell commands.
Linux also required for this, right?
Linux is not that much required for the data engineers, but some amount of knowledge is required. I will give you that knowledge.
Okay. So, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions, anyone? We are already started this thing. Okay, we have already started from yesterday. Okay, we are progressing on the topic. See, tomorrow we are looking at the GCP locations. What is this GCP locations? Okay, how many locations are there? What is the importance of these zones and regions? And we are going to learn about what is the location, how many regions are there, what is this zone, how they are interconnected together, in each zone, how the data centers are situated. So from the very basic onwards, and we are going to learn each and everything, I would say. Okay, so this is how we are going to see, and the importance is here whenever you are selecting the GCP roles, region and zone selection. So this is very important for those developers, right? So how they can, I mean, how if they wanted to deploy their solution, this is very important for them. These 3 points are very important. So this is how the importance of that. So likewise, we are going to progress on the IAM and admin, and then we will be starting our GCP services one by one. Okay, yeah. Okay, guys.
Sir, what is the course syllabus? I joined late.
The course syllabus. The
Yeah.
course syllabus is we are going to cover all the GCP basic concepts plus these things. Okay. So the basic, all the GCP basic concepts like locations, services, interacting methods, IAM, admin, all of those, including that. So we are going to cover all of these GCP engineering, data engineering tools. Okay, GCP basic connect basic things as well as these things. Okay.
Lab, sir.
Everything is included, guys. So I'm going to tell you how to create an account in the GCP. First thing, free account needs to be created, and we are not just learning theoretically. My model of way of teaching is always 80/20, guys. 80 is for the practical, 20 is for the theoretical. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And duration, sir.
Duration is going to be 40 hours.
40 hours, sir. For 40 days, sir.
40 hours means 1.5 months, you can say 1.5 months. 40 solid hours. Yes.
Okay. Daily 1 hour, I think.
Daily 1 hour, yes. Monday to Friday.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, guys. Thank you all. I think there's one more guy.
Yeah, hi, Shashi here. Sorry, Raj here. Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, I have one question. This course, how it is going to helpful for to get a certification for this GCP?
This course is that wherever you go, the course gives you the knowledge. Okay. The course gives you the knowledge. During the topics also, I will be telling you that this question was asked previously, because I have taken my I have 3 certifications in the GCP, and 2 times I have written. So 2 years before, I guess, I have given my EAS and professional data engineer, and I have, after 2 years, the validity will be over. Recently I have given my associate cloud engineer and professional data engineer, and also I have given DevOps engineer as well. So I have now 3 GCP certifications. Okay, so I will tell you with that experience how I have, where I have covered my questions, how the knowledge I have got it. So all of those basic concepts, real-time concepts, all of those things will be covered in here, and including that I will also tell you the interview topics also, how they are asking, and how the question pattern in the certification exams, everything will be covered here. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, this is thank you. So, and one more point is I need to cover. Is it going to cover for the DevOps also? No, only for the GCP.
This course is not for the DevOps. This is mainly specially designed for the GCP data engineers.
On the GCP only, no? Okay.
Yes, GCP special data engineers. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, fine. Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone having any questions, guys? Okay. Great. Let's meet at the same time tomorrow. Guys, thank you all. Hope I have answered all of your questions. Thank you.